looking into. You've gone back and you've done the research, and you already have a game plan for coming to Washington, D.C. Do your opponents understand how poignant or how destructive Agenda 21 is? Have they spoken about it in their campaigns?
Well, actually, we have not had any of the debate so far, nor any material of theirs that I've seen. Have we even been asked about it? So I don't know. We spent a lot of time talking about regulations across the board, and everybody's we need to not real in depth, but just we need to cut regulations. But I would like to see, and I actually learned this when Rick Perry was coming through. He had a plan that I think was pretty good about just absolutely freezing all regulations that have been passed since 2008, and then going through the whole regulation book, and let's figure out what works, what matters, what doesn't, what's harmful to the economy that's really of no value, and remove them, and then put a sunset on anything you pass. So this has got to be repassed every so many years, so that you don't have this book growing and growing and growing. And I think there's something like 160,000 regulations on the books across the board in a lot of different areas, and some of them are perfectly silly, like sprinkler systems over indoor swimming pools that are part of the International Building Code. And I tell that joke on the stump all the time. It's like, if you can catch a pool on fire, I'm not swimming in it. This thing, Agenda 21, which they say it started in '92, but I found a thing in one of these articles that goes back to 1976, and in it actually said, this is item 10 on the UN agenda at the 1996 Habitat 1, and it said land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset, controlled by individuals and subject to the pressures and inefficiencies of the market. Private land ownership is also a principal instrument of accumulation and a concentration of wealth, and therefore contributes to social injustice. If unchecked, it may become a major obstacle in the planning and implementation of development schemes. I thought my heart was going to do that. Certainly that sounds like the communists are taking over the UN, which is just scary within itself. And
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, South Carolina, Randal Wallace got it. I don't know how many of you other individuals who are running for office understand what he just said, but they are coming for America, for the United Nations. This man understands that you need to put him in the office because he knows how to get the job done. Listen, when we come back from this particular break, I want to talk with you about Fast and Furious. And then we're going to get into the budget, because I know that that's a very big topic for you recently down in South Carolina, and you did a very big thing recently regarding signing a major pledge, and we're going to talk about that when you come back. We are talking tonight with Randal Wallace. You can call in at 646-564-9777. You're listening to AC Nation Network 2, the Exceptional Conservative Show. I'm Ken McClinton, Mr. Exceptional himself.
Today our world is filled with all things economic, a slow economy, unemployment, concerns about inflation, and so on. Therefore, it's important for you to be aware of economic concepts, issues, and events. You can learn about important economic concepts, issues, and events, improve your economic decision-making, and improve the quality of your economic life by listening to an Economic Minute each week on this station. Please join me right here for an Economic Minute. I'm Dr. Brooks Robinson.
Join us in our conservative safe space to talk about issues that are relevant to us, the young conservative movement. Tuesdays, 10 o'clock, AC Nation Radio. Be there.
Welcome to an Economic Minute. I'm Dr. Brooks Robinson. Today we discuss fair and flat tax systems. The current federal income tax system is characterized by deductions for certain expenditures and different tax rates for various levels of income. To simplify taxes, fair and flat tax systems have been proposed. Under a fair tax system, all income taxes would be eliminated and consumers would be taxed at a specified rate on their purchases of new goods and services. To make the system fair, all households would receive a rebate for taxes paid on consumption spending up to the poverty level. That is, those in poverty would not be taxed. A flat tax system, on the other hand, also eliminates current income taxes and involves taxing consumers at a flat rate on their purchases. The flat tax system could be designed with or without deductions for selected, most likely essential expenditures. You should ask, would I be better off under the fair, flat, or the current tax system? Remember, improving your understanding of economics helps you improve the quality of your life. With an Economic Minute, I'm Dr. Brooks Robinson.
You're listening to AC Nation Radio Network 2, 646-564-9777. We are with Mr. Randal Wallace, who is running. He's a council member down off of Myrtle Beach and is running for Congress out of South Carolina District Number 7, which is a rural district, and needs absolutely great representation because of all of the things that are coming down the board at rural America. A lot of people don't recognize that there are so many things like the EPA regulations, like Agenda 21, that this administration has really been shooting out, and as well, energy, the coal situation, shutting down coal-burning plants all across America, causing energy prices to increase dramatically. Listen, you need someone with great understanding, and so far he's shown great understanding. I want to play for you a clip. This is Milton Friedman back in about 1976. You remember Dick Lugar, poor guy. But about 1976, he came to Washington, D.C. This is what Milton Friedman was saying back in 1976.
Your question. I see society as more and more tending toward the usurping of my individual rights and freedoms as time goes by. What do you see as the ultimate end of this, i.e. either in democracy or socialism, and why do you think the individuals within society are letting this happen to them?
Well, the last part of your question is the hardest one to answer. If we continue along the road we've been going on, of usurping more and more power to governmental officials to control our lives, I see only one end, and that's a loss of anything that has any meaning as democracy, a loss of human freedom, and a prison state. That's the end. Now, why are people letting this happen to them? That's a much more difficult question to answer. And I think it is largely because of ignorance about where they are going, a lack of recognition. I don't believe they want to go this road, but I believe they are unwittingly letting themselves go down there because on each issue that comes up, people look at their separate special interest instead of the broader interest in governmental activity. Everybody wants to cut down government, provided that those things he has an interest in are maintained. I remember very well the summit conference in Washington on inflation that President Ford had about 2 or 3 years ago, in which one representative after another got up and said, in order to stop inflation, we have to cut the government budget. The way to cut the government budget is to spend more on my interests. That's how each separate group does it. So I think we are being driven down this road, fundamentally, by a defect in our political structure. A defect which allows each of these separate elements of government to be voted on separately, and never gets the citizen to look at the totality of it and see what the whole thing adds up. The solution is for people like you and me to talk to ourselves and to our fellows and to try to persuade our fellow free men to be of like mind, to change the climate of opinion in these respects, to try to correct the political structure to impose a... I've been recently working on one particular proposal along those lines, which is to have constitutional amendments setting a maximum limit to the amount the government may spend. I will go into the details of that, but I think fundamentally, we are getting what the public at large is asking for. And the public is asking for it, I believe, because they do not understand what